everyone, Karen Margulis here, and I am excited today because I want to take you behind the scenes and show you what it takes to put together your own signature pastel set. Now, I don't know if you have ever wondered what goes on when an artist has to select a set of pastels. Many manufacturers have their own signature sets, and so they invite artists to put together a set of the artist's preferred palette. And I had the very honor, privilege, it was so exciting when I was asked last year to put together a set of pastels for Terry Ludwig. Now, many of you know Terry Ludwig is my very favorite pastel brand. So this was quite an honor and quite daunting because I wasn't sure where to begin. How do I go about choosing a set of 60 pastels out of 1,000 or more? Because basically the sky was the limit because they would make up colors that they didn't have in their inventory. So I figured out how to do it, and I want to kind of walk you through the steps that I took to come up with the set, which, let's take a look at the set. This is the finished set. This is my signature set. It's called Floral Landscapes, with the idea being that you should be able to, as an artist, paint any type of landscape that includes flowers, whether they be wildflowers or garden variety flowers, or not. So you don't have to actually want to paint flowers. These colors are going to work fine for you, and I'm going to explain how they do work at the very end of this video. So how do you go about, or how did I go about selecting the pastels? First thing was I painted a lot. So here's a bunch of reference photos. These are my typical motif, wildflowers within a landscape, and I threw in some landscape paintings without wildflowers. I probably painted 10 to 20, I lost track, paintings, keeping all the colors, all the pastels that I used out of the main box. So I ended up with a tray of, I don't know, maybe 75 pastels that I found I was using consistently. But that was too many, so I had to narrow it down. So I painted maybe 5 or 10 more paintings. I've lost track. This time, keeping in mind those pastels out of the 75 that I did not use very often, I pulled those out till I got down to about 64 pastels. At this point, I was pretty confident that these were the pastels that I tended to use the most. So I made little color swatches on a piece of UArt paper. I still needed to narrow it down to 60, so I did a couple more paintings and I was able to narrow it down to 60. It was hard, but I did manage to do it. Then comes step 2. How do I figure out what colors those were? And by the way, they were not necessarily all Terry Ludwig pastels. Most of them were, because that's what I tend to use the most, but there were a few that probably weren't. So I made color swatches. And then, this was the fun part. Terry Ludwig gave me a handmade color chart, which you can actually purchase on terryludwig.com. And these are actual hand-done color swatches, so that's why they're protected by glassine. This is the way to find the color you need because, as you know, the colors look different on a monitor, you know, than when you get them in real life. And oftentimes an actual pastel stick will look one color when you pick it up, but then when you make the mark, it actually looks different. So you need to have the real color swatches. Then what I did was I took each color swatch and I lined it up so that it touched the swatch, so that I could see, oops, let's do it this way so you can see. That one's not a match, that one's not a match, this one. And that's how I went through it and figured out which was the match. And then I wrote down the color name. Once I went through all 60, I made a chart or a list of the color numbers, the Terry Ludwig official number. I sent that in to Terry Ludwig. They put together the set, sent me the set, and then I was on to step 3 because now I had to test the set and make sure that the colors I selected really were the colors I wanted. So I did another 10 paintings. Again, same type of motif, flowers in the landscape and some landscapes without flowers. And I realized that I was actually happy with the set. It was easy. I didn't have to make any changes at all. I felt confident that this set would allow me to paint the type of paintings I like to paint flowers, wildflowers in the landscape, and even just plain regular landscapes. So this is the set. This is the color chart. I'm going to post all of these things so that you can see them more up close and personal. This is just a few of the paintings that I have done with the set. And again, I'll post more so that you can study them a little bit in more detail. And I want to share one more thing about the colors that I selected and why I selected them. So I want to turn your attention to this fun color chart that I've made on a piece of black foam core. These are all the colors in the set. And I want to talk about what they are, what they can be used for. These are the blues. You can paint a blue sky that is a sunny blue sky. You can paint a overcast blue sky or moody sky. You can use these colors to paint the grays and clouds as well. These, which I know you can't see very well, but they are the darks. There's a dark blue, a dark burgundy, and a very, very dark, I call this a super dark. This is the darkest dark in the set. These are great for blocking in the darks. This one is great for dark accents. These are what I call the colorful lights. They are light value pastels, but not white. They could be used to paint anything light: clouds, snow, water, and especially white flowers, my favorite, Queen Anne's lace. These are the greens I selected in these two rows. There's a variety of greens from warm, cool to neutral. We have greens for distance, and we have greens for up close, and we have nice warm sunny greens for that sunlit area, and we have cooler greens for areas that are not necessarily in the sun. So plenty of greens. And then we have our distant colors. So these are great for mountains or any kind of landscape element that's way in the distance. They're nice gray down blues. I call these dirt colors. In fact, all of these can be used for dirt or flowers. And what do I mean by dirt? When I paint, I like to put colors underneath all of the green stuff. So these are great colors to use underneath to help make the green things in a landscape more interesting. They can also be used for flowers. So you have some pink flowers, of course any purple flowers, and these violets are all great for dirt colors as well. We can paint some red flowers, some orange flowers, some yellow flowers, and some pink flowers. And again, they can all be layered along with the greens and the blues to create more interesting, vibrant landscapes. So that is the explanation of the colors that I selected, and I'm really, really excited about the set. I've been using it almost exclusively for most of my demos and my most recent workshops, and it's been working out really great. But I thought you might enjoy a kind of a behind-the-scenes look at how I came about to select those colors and why I selected them. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them, and let's have fun, let's paint.